Yo bro, what's up? I'm Prim and I'm currently an architectural apprentice here in the Philippines. And today we're going to be talking about the most essential aspect of visual presentation. Kung curious ka man, if you want to learn about it, stick around and we'll be talking about it in a few seconds. Yo. So lines. Lines are the most essential or pinaka-foundational thing in terms of visual presentation. Basically, for you to be able to draw construction drawings, of course, you need to be able to learn how to practice how to do lines. For you to be able to draw, let's say, or just practice sketching, practice doing portrait drawings, or any other type of creative presentation, may it be digital or traditional drawing, one should actually learn how to be able to practice being able to do certain line types. Of course, I think you were expecting something that's high level in terms of kung ano nga ba yung pinaka-essential or the most foundational thing a person can actually learn to be able to practice, visual presentation. It's just simple as, lines. Alam ko boring to, but trust me when I say, for someone to be able to be a star architect meaning a famous architect, or for someone to be able to just master a certain type of skill, one should actually learn how to practice the foundational skills. So for example, I wanted to be an NBA player. Kailangan ko matutunan yung mga fundamentals. And in terms of visual presentation, lines are the most essential. So it may be boring, pero trust me when I say, apply doing your practice every single day towards this one. We're going to talk about things to practice every single day at least. Put effort into your practice and you're gonna get better in terms of your visual presentation. So before I start explaining certain things regarding what should we practice in terms of lines, so in this book, so I just wanted to share something in this book called Still Like an Artist. It is by Austin Kleon. He actually explained to step away from the screen. Basically, I think this is connected to what we're going to talk about, which is being able to practice lines. I'm sharing this concept kasi I think majority of the people nowadays in terms of the younger creatives are mostly just really inclined into doing their works sa digital space. But of course, there's nothing wrong about it. It's just that I think it's just for me, it is very essential for someone to learn on how to draw sa paper and pencil before actually doing their own work in terms of the digital space. I don't know if it's just me, but alam mo yun, paper and pencil will always be different from just the digital space na parang pag nagkamali ka, you can immediately erase it, you can immediately undo it, diba? Wherein paper and pencil, it makes you vulnerable into mistakes and makes you more makes you think more, makes you produce more kasi alam mong, oh, this is not yet final, I want to do this one. Pero in terms of the digital drawing, of course, it is efficient in terms of how perfect your drawing would like to be. Pero in terms of paper and pencil, you would like to scratch out another paper. To drawing ulit ako, produce. Which is, I think, one of the things that we should actually learn is actually by not being afraid to make mistakes in terms of our drawing, in terms of our sketching, right? So I'm just going to share an experience of mine when I was in college. Is we always had an esquisse drawing exam namin when we were in college sa UST. Bale, I think majority of architectural schools have this. Pero yun nga, we were given 1 to 2 hour period to finish the exam or the drawing test. Pero we only had paper and pencil, we can't use our phones. So it helped us to produce something based on our own experiences, our own memory, yung immediate spaces na we can see, trees, nature, whatever that is, diba? So I think it is essential for someone to actually separate your workspace dun sa digital and the let's say the paper and pencil workspace mo. diba? So now that you're watching this, of course, meron kang digital phone, laptop, or whatever that is that you're using, and it's okay. Pero in terms of you practicing this one, I'm going to share, just use paper and pencil. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just erase it kung okay lang. Kung naka ano ng oras, it's okay. As long as you're able to practice your hand, your strokes, diba? Meron tayong tinatawag na muscle memory that helps our, let's say, muscle or our strokes to do the lines that we want to do. So, we'll start with the 4 practices. Yeah. So, what we're going to do is first do the pinaka basic, which is drawing simple lines. Diba? As what I've said earlier, drawing lines might be something that is very, very boring in terms of, syempre, baka na-expect na dapat complex drawing na kasi you believe that you're actually really good, you're actually very, very good in drawing simple lines, but just bear with me. This is really something that you can actually learn from. So, we're just going to do horizontal lines first with the use of pencil as our medium, and then after, I think I did 10 horizontal strokes, after in which we're going to draw vertical lines naman. So it's going to actually be more, or it's going to be harder kapag you're doing the strokes longer kasi you need to have a stronger grip or stronger arm grip, hand grip rather. Tapos syempre dapat ma-straight yung pag-swing mo ng braso. And then next is diagonal lines. So ito mas enjoy ko to actually. And then after in which pagkatapos ng pencil, we're going to use a different medium, which is pen. So I'm showing it to you kasi minsan nagkakaroon ng difference in terms of yung weight nung pinaka gamit. For example, pencil, and then may pen, or yung way ng pag-handle mo ng pinaka medium. Pero I think it is good to actually practice on actually pencil, pen, markers. Just try to practice your strokings of lines talaga. It's going to be very, very helpful in terms of your advanced drawings in the future, kahit ano pa yan. And then, ayan, simple lang, sketch lang. Try nyo, actually, if I'll be honest, every 2 weeks, nagagawa ko lang itong pag-practice siguro mga 3 times kasi I'm already, siguro every single day I draw naman sa firm namin, sa architectural firm namin. Pero siguro with itong aim ng pag-practice talaga ng ganitong lines, in every lang talaga, every 2 weeks, 3 times, mga ganun, or twice, or once a week, parang ganun. And then after in which, syempre, drawing lines, and then next natin is sorry. And the next natin is finishing a component. And then our next is drawing lines, finishing a composition. Basically, composition, it can be just a simple line, it can be a shape, it can be a form. Basically, composition can be considered as a form. Diba? So, basically, just draw different shapes. You can draw rectangle, you can draw square. And then, what I'm trying to show here is based on sa isa kong book, which is a guide to visual presentation. Hinighlight nila dito na one should actually be able to finish drawing a composition in terms of intersecting yung pinaka lines. So as you can see, yung first row or yung first column ng drawing ng shape is nag-intersect yung lines. Pero I'm showing here na dapat nag-intersect yung lines. It shouldn't be parang unfinished, kumbaga. Kasi it doesn't like really show na the lines that we're actually highlighting in this video are being intersected to each other, di ba? So, make sure if you're drawing certain shapes, may it be 3D or 2D, dapat lagi silang nag-intersect. actually, it forms a sense of ano na rin kasi. It forms a sense of professionality. Alright? So, next, um, the third one is being able to practice line weights. As you can see, line weights, isa talaga to sa pinaka-importanting bagay na dapat pinapractice natin in terms of visual presentation, di ba? Kahit, actually, nung bata ka pa eh, di ba? Actually ako, if I try to recall myself, dati, I really like, siguro nung sinasali ako sa parang mga art competition nung grade school ako, I really like using markers, pero syempre parang na-realize ko na parang, yung kahit hindi ko alam yung concept ng line weights, parang minsan gusto kong makapal yung linya dito pero parang minsan magandang manipis yung linya, 'di ba? Parang nagkakaroon ng difference na ganun. Pero as you can see here, yung line weights ko right now, I have three different pens. So iba-iba sila ng thickness. And then actually I'll try to be more detailed on a separate video, but as you can see here, I'm trying to use different line line thickness sa composition sa isang 3D shape. So you can see here, I'm using a thinner line again, although medyo malabo. I am really sorry. Um, but ayan, I'm actually just experimenting using different pens for the line weight, of course. So sometimes may ibang pens din na nagkakaroon siya ng ibang thickness in terms of how deep, kung gaano mo ka din i-ano yung pressure mo sa isang pen towards the paper. Pero since I'm using a point pen or somewhat a gel pen, I really need to switch um, different pens for me to have a sense of line weights. So yep. So practice, practice, practice. So after line weights, of course, we're now switching to line types and patterns. Basically, I added this to actually lagi na tong like whenever kunyari ikaw you 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 you're planning to take an architectural course or something that has to do with art or parang has to do with drafting, lagi talagang pinapagawa yan sa parang VT or visual technology is lagi siyang may part na you have to do patterns, you have to do simple lines, parang ganun, parang you have to get used to just making different strokes. And eto, I just actually did some random stuff, adding horizontal to the vertical to the diagonal, and then may mga curved lines as well. Of course, hindi ko siya nabigyan ng emphasis, but lines are not just straight lines. Merong curved lines as well. Merong broken lines. Actually, broken lines are considered as straight lines. But I think there's straight lines and curved lines, and then you can add different ways on being creative. So I'm trying to actually show a pattern of like wood grain or something like that. So to you can have different spacing. Bale, just try to think of different things um, and then just draw. Just draw and practice at least if kakayanin guys, at least try to do it at least twice a week. Feel ko after that long run, let's say give it at least 3 months or let's say 2 months of doing it once a week, it may actually form a habit of you doing it kahit na boring kasi syempre you need um, actually just a suggestion whenever you're trying to draw, just try to have a light music. Siguro hindi ganun kalala na, or not really that loud of a music, but just try to embrace boring whenever you're trying to produce your own creativity. Embrace boring kasi that's when you're actually having your creative juice inside your brain to to form or to produce something. So there, just trying. So there, I'm just trying to really back. Make sure you're actually I think you need to stretch as well. You need to actually get used to making strokes from your wrist and um, actually dalawa to eh. If maliit yung parang strokes mo, you can actually use your if yung strokes mo are let's say curved, make sure na di ganun ka-lock yung wrist mo. Pero if straight lines, make sure to lock your wrists. Yes. Okay. And then yun nga, nagkamali ako. Nauna ko yung patterns before trying to go for the different types of lines. So, as you can see, straight lines can actually produce square, rectangle, different shapes. Curved lines are, ayan, I'm trying to give examples of what curved lines are. You can create different shapes from it. And then I've actually thought of just creating different or actually conceptualizing. I'll be creating different furniture from just random, um, just out of nothing. So I'm actually inviting you guys to join me into just drawing something kahit dahon pa yan, kahit yung table na nakikita mo, kahit yung tao. Kasi when you try to create a stroke, you're creating line. Diba? And like what we've talked about, lines are the most foundational thing in a visual presentation. Kahit actually even writing a letter, A, B, C, D, you're creating a mixture of straight lines and curved lines, right? So don't be afraid to use your paper and pencil.
it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally reduce their work